Conflict creates risk and vulnerability at local, national, and global scales. 2 billion people live in countries where development outcomes are affected by fragility, war, and violence. But what do we mean by conflict? Conflict is the state of discord caused by tension or opposition to needs, values, and interests. Around the world, conflict drives around 80% of all humanitarian needs, and the share of extreme poor living in areas affected by conflict is projected to rise from 17% to almost 50% by 2030. This means that the struggle for peace and justice poses significant challenges for sustainable global development. War, trafficking, exploitation, corruption, organised crime, or terrorism all work to perpetuate inequality, and according to the Institute of Economics and Peace, violence costs 12.6% of world GDP. That's around £4.10 per day per person globally. Geographers are not only interested in where conflict takes place, but the particular spaces in which it occurs. This means paying attention to the way that violence and abuse occur at a variety of scales. War is one of the most devastating forms of conflict. It refers to discord or battle between political groups and occurs at a regional, national, and international magnitude. For example, as a result of civil war in Syria since 2011, it is estimated that the conflict has caused around 470,000 deaths, both directly and indirectly. 5 million people have fled Syria, and at least 6.3 million people are internally displaced. That's people who have yet to cross a border to find safety. £2.7 billion will be needed in humanitarian assistance, with over 85% of Syrians living in poverty. The conflict has caused food insecurity and domicide. That's the destruction of homes. 1.75 million children are out of school. Alongside well-documented geopolitical events such as the Syrian war, there are many conflicts that go unreported in the news that are seemingly overlooked by the global north. In total, around 65.6 million people were forcibly displaced at the end of 2016 as a result of conflict, violence, or human rights violations. That's a total bigger than the population of the UK. 85% of the world's refugees are hosted by developing countries and regions, which create new challenges for resources and development. Peace is therefore an important part of how countries develop and progress. According to the Global Peace Index, the last decade has seen a 2% decline in global peacefulness. But what does peace actually mean? It is not the absence of conflict or war, but the experience of good governance, fair distributions of power, and the practice of justice, hospitality, and tolerance. Peace is not simply living without war. In order to achieve justice around the world, it is important to include all voices, particularly those from developing countries who are so affected by conflict. That's why, as part of the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals by 2030, Goal number 16 aims to promote peaceful and inclusive societies that provide justice for all and make institutions accountable. This animation is supported by the Global Learning Programme. For more educational resources on global issues, social justice and sustainability, visit www.rgs.org/GLP.